There's breaking news we're following right now. The U.S. House of Representatives has just passed a bill to keep the federal government open at least until March. That now goes to President Biden's desk for a signature. This, as lawmakers keep wrangling over a deal that would send new aid to Ukraine while stepping up enforcement on the U.S. border with Mexico. Let's get some analysis from the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Republican Congressman Mike Turner of Ohio. Mr. Chairman, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this new legislation that the president's getting ready to sign. Republican Senator John Cornyn is pushing back against what he calls hardline demands from House Republicans on this deal. Listen to this.
You have to make hard choices sometimes in politics and in life. And here the question is, do you want to get something that will help us stem the tide of humanity coming across the border in drugs? Or do you want to get nothing?
So what's your reaction to that? Do House Republicans risk getting nothing right now?
So you're really actually talking about two different bills. There was the bill that was passed in the House that's funding for the fiscal year. And then there's the supplemental, that is the national security bill, that's the quad that the president has proposed, which is Ukraine, Israel, Indo-PACOM, Indo-Pacific, and then the border provisions. Now, what I think Cornyn was talking about, which is very important, is that we need to make certain that we stem the flow at the border. The president knows it has to occur. I was just at the White House yesterday. He himself said in our meeting, the border is broken. And we can't do that just by providing additional funds that go to aid or assistance to people who come across the border. We have to secure the border. And that's what the negotiations are that are ongoing in the Senate. They're working on a bill right now. Both McConnell and Schumer represented yesterday in the meeting at the White House that they thought that the bill that was coming forward would be a really good discussion point. But absolutely, I think the American people believe, as the president did when he proposed this bill, border security has to be part of this package, and it has to be meaningful.
But you're willing to compromise with Democrats on this, right?
Well, I think the fact that the Republicans have the House and the Democrats have the Senate, and the Democrats, which always has to, by the way, work on a bipartisan basis, as you know, and then the presidency is in the hand of the Democrats, we're going to end up with a bipartisan solution. But all four of these are incredibly important. Ukraine desperately needs our aid. Israel clearly needs our assistance. Our allies in Asia also do. But the border is the most significant present national security threat to the United States.
Speaking of Israel, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu just had a news conference, and he said he told the U.S. he will oppose any establishment of a Palestinian state. As you know, President Biden keeps talking about the need for a two-state solution, Israel living alongside a new state of Palestine. Does what Netanyahu is now saying make peace even more complicated, more difficult?
Well, it's not surprising to hear him say something like this. And obviously, that's his view of the challenges that Israel's facing. But on the Palestinian side, you can't have a two-state solution unless the Palestinians have one state. And they've not had one state. In the West Bank, you have the Palestinian Authority. In Gaza, the Palestinian Authority had been supplanted by Hamas, a terrorist organization, and there had been no additional political activity there. They ruled in Gaza. The fact that there's not one coherent Palestinian group or organization certainly prohibits there being the next step of one.
Do you support a two-state solution?
I think a two-state solution would be the best solution, because you would have two nations side by side that hopefully could have peace. But you can't have in Gaza a terrorist organization that not only, as we saw on October 7th, mercilessly killed Israelis, but the amount of shelling, the routine bombing that occurs from Gaza into Israel cannot be permitted.
Let's talk about what's going on with the U.S. shelling hitting these Iranian-backed Houthi rebels that are going on right now. President Biden says the strikes against the Houthis will continue. You've been fully briefed. You're the chairman of the Intelligence Committee. How are they going?
Well, first off, it's about time. You can't play defense. We kept getting the news stories on a repeated basis as to the attacks that were happening on ships and even missiles that were launched at our own military ships. and that we were being, by our own technology, our own defensive mechanism, being able to take those down. You can't play defense continuously, and you have to let them know that they're not going to be able to continue this. So it's very important that the president took the step in Yemen to hit the Houthis, to begin to diminish their overall capabilities, but they need to know they're going to be paying a price for trying to diminish the ability to have commercial shipping.